Hey guys, I'm Sadie and today we're starting a new game. This is called Buried. Buried is an interactive story game that is told through photos and a soundtrack and gripping text. You're playing the role of Roger, who's a logging foreman, and something happens at the logging site and suddenly he wakes up flat on his back and his crew is all missing. So, as Roger, we have to find clues and hopefully find our crew and figure out what's going on. Like many of the other interactive story games that we've seen, all of our decisions affect the game's outcome. So, here and there, we might have some very important decisions to make that could make somebody hate us or make somebody run from us, something like that. So, we'll have to see as we get going. Let's get in there. I open my eyes, and the first thing I want to do is scream. I'm flat on my back, and everything seems to hurt. The trees overhead look familiar. It's a clear night sky, almost beautiful. Except for the fact that this means I've been out cold for at least 6 hours. But there's something wrong. I don't remember what, but something happened, and oh, my head. My God, my head hurts. And there's a ringing in my ears. Was there an accident? An explosion? I remember Dennis screaming, but after that, I can't remember. As I sit up, I notice that my hard hat has been thrown off. I look around the area, but it's not here. It feels strange to go anywhere without my hard hat on, but I've got to find the other members of my crew. They could be in danger. So shall we search for the hard hat, or forget about the hat and find our crew? I think we need to find our crew. I decide that my hat can wait until I figure out what's going on. I get up and I take a look around the logging site. I smell something burning and I don't hear any engines running. But wait, something's not right. Was it the bulldozer? Maybe the damn thing overheated for the last time. Maybe the engine finally blew. Oh, what a mess. Well, maybe I'm jumping to conclusions. There's only one way to find out, I guess. I'll walk over to the center of the logging site, but I don't like what I see. The logging site looks like a bomb was detonated right in the center. I don't know where to start. The one load we had managed to stack on a truck for the day is overturned. The trailer is bent and the logs are hanging off the back. Where the hell is everyone? My head is killing me, and this ringing in my ears, I can't even hear anything. Not the birds, not my footsteps, nothing. It makes me wonder if I hit my head after my hard hat flew off. I run through a quick mental checklist to make sure my brain is still working. My name is Roger Hastings. I'm 41 years old, and the year is 2017. I own a small logging company, and we've been logging on this strip of Kentucky woodland for almost a month. Okay, so my brain works. That's a relief, but it also makes me fearful because something is definitely not right here. I look around the logging site. My mind is trying to figure out what has happened. Just about every piece of equipment has been overturned or tilted. So do we look at the debris or look at the truck? I say we go through the debris. There are bits of debris everywhere. There are fragments of 5-gallon bucket that I keep our work rags in. There's a loose saw chain and an overturned gas canister. Had there been an explosion, all of the fuel on the site would have started a fire. But there's no charring, there's no burning, there's nothing. I walk through the area where Dennis had been working. From the looks of it, he'd been moving slowly. He'd only taken down 4 trees today. His metal lunchbox is open, an indicator that he had been taking an early break. But he's not here. No one is here. Where the hell is everyone? I could try to make a call on my cell phone, but its battery's already running really low. Not that it matters. The reception is pretty crap out here. Should we yell out, or should we call someone on the cell phone? I say we at least try the cell. I pull out my cell and I try to make a call to Frank. It rings and rings, and then just as it goes to his voice, and then it just goes to his voicemail. But before I can leave a message, my phone goes dead. Great. Well, I hope I don't need my phone anytime soon. I might as well start walking. The highway is almost a mile back through the woods, down the gravel road that we used to reach the site. Maybe the crew ran back that way for help. But why would they have left me? Were they scared or out of sorts? Maybe I can catch up with them. But with my truck turned over on its side, it looks like I'll be walking. My God, I can't even remember what I was doing before I woke up on my back. Wait, what is that underneath the bulldozer? Oh my God, it's a leg. It has to be either Tony or Dennis. The dozer looks unstable, like it might just roll some more. It might not be safe to get close, but at the same time, I can't just leave him here. I'm gonna go look. It's go look or stay back. I'm gonna go look. Hey, I yell. Are you okay? Are you alive? I skip over the stray logs and the wrecked equipment to get closer. Seeing the dozer teeter makes me think that maybe I should have grabbed my hat. I can see a bit more of the leg. The jeans are soaked in blood. I recognize the work boots. It's clearly Tony. His leg is bent in an impossible angle and crushed nearly flat. The closer I get, the more apparent it becomes that Tony didn't survive. Leave the body alone or pull him out? What if he has a phone? I'm gonna pull on him. Oof. I try to pull him out, but he's just not budging, and that's when I see the blood coating the ground under him. It's thick and it's fresh, so dark on the dirt that it looks black. As I'm tugging, I hear something crunch, but I somehow manage to pull him out. His legs are absolutely crushed and his stomach looks deflated. Blood covers everything from the navel down. His face was turned to the right when he was crushed. It looks like a broken plastic mask, seeping with blood and bits of shattered skull. My God, I can't believe this. I have to turn away. And that's when I hear a deafening, creaking noise, and I am bashed in the head from behind as the bulldozer shifts lower into the ground. I roll clear and I end up on my back, my eyes shut tight from grimacing. My head is exploding with pain, and I feel a stream of warm blood. Why wasn't I wearing my hard hat? That's all I can think over and over, but it doesn't make the pain any less. After writhing around for a few minutes, I finally pull myself up off the ground. I can't stay here. I have to find Dennis, Frank, and Joe. I have to find out what happened here. As I walk through the stacks of logs from the last week or so of work, everything feels frozen. This high-pitched sound in my ears, it's terrible. It keeps happening every few seconds, and it sounds like it's coming from far away. I can't help but wonder, is it my ears, or is it something else? The silence out here is creepy, and there's a smell, like the atmosphere after a bad summer storm. I might as well admit it. I am a little scared. Everyone's missing, and it is dead quiet out here. There doesn't even seem to be a breeze to rustle the leaves in the branches. My right knee hurts like hell, and my head is hurting so bad before I didn't even notice the pain in my knee. I must have heard it during the what? The accident? Or... Wait, is that Dennis? I think I see him sitting on the ground, motionless about 30 feet away. Should we yell out, or should we just walk up on him? You know, if I'm hearing things, a high-pitched ringing in my ears, he might be too. I don't really want to startle him, so let's holler. Dennis, I yell. Dennis, can you hear me? Dennis lets out a shout, like someone waking up from a nightmare, and then he looks back at me from the ground. Yeah, Roger, I hear you, he hollers back as I head over toward him. Dennis is built like a wrestler and has the tough personality to match. But in this moment, he looks disoriented and even a little anxious. Although I'm glad to see him, the fear on his usually confident face is alarming. What the hell happened? What's going on? He asks. So do we say, I don't know the crew is missing? or I think it was an explosion. Well, I think I would think it's an explosion, except that nothing was burning. Let's be upfront and honest and not make leaps of logic. We'll say we don't know and that the crew is missing, because we do know that. Missing? Dennis says. Where do you think they went? I'm not sure, I say, but it has me pretty freaked out. Something is not right here. Still sitting on the ground, he looks around the woods as if he is just now understanding the severity of the situation. The equipment was overturned. The dozers, too, I say, and wipe my forehead. Are you okay? I ask him. Yeah, I'm just shaken up. Yeah, me too. This might be the most intimate conversation Dennis and I have ever had. While he and I have always been on good terms, we've never been particularly close. I've always respected him, though. Sure, he's come to work a few times looking like he'd been in a bar fight the night before. But I've also seen him do an enthusiastic impression of a dinosaur as he played with Tony's kids while they waited for their dad to finish his shift. It's then that it hits me. Dennis and Tony were good friends. I'm not sure I want to rattle him with the news of Tony's death right now. Not before we know what's going on. But he does have the right to know. So shall I tell him Tony is dead? Or don't mention it? You know what? I'm not going to bring it up. Because... I don't know. Oh, I'm so torn. He might be in better shape right now to hear this news than he might be later. Like if we go traipsing through the woods and he gets all worn out. But then if he goes traipsing through the woods and he needs something to hold on to, believing that his buddy is still alive. Oh my God, I don't know. I'm going to tell him. I'm going to be upfront with him. He's got to know. Tony's dead. You were upfront with Dennis about Tony. Dennis's eyes fixate on me, startled. He was crushed under the dozer, I say. Dennis pauses for a moment, like he's trying to understand what I just said. His eyes narrow and his bottom lip quivers. Shit, he says. And I can tell that he's fighting back tears. He and Tony were tight, almost like brothers. Hey, he adds quickly, as if trying to escape the reality of Tony's death. Do you see that light? No, I say. What did you see? I don't even know, Roger, he says. It was like this flare of white light. It came right up out of the ground, like an explosion. So there was an explosion, I say. Maybe it was some equipment or... No, this was no equipment, Dennis interrupts, agitated. This huge ball of light came right out of the damn ground. So do I say, what did it look like, or where did it go? Well, we already know what it looked like. It's a huge ball of light. So let's find out where it went. It just shot up into the sky until it was out of sight. When? Oh, I'm not sure, he answers. But I had finished about 10 trees for the day and was about to top one, and that's when it happened. You're almost done with 10 trees? I ask him. Yeah, he says, looking at the ground. You know, I wouldn't want to take a lunch break until I was done. And that's when the light blew up. Why? You don't believe me? Well, we know he was only like 4 or 5 trees in, but it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to say I believe you. You believe Dennis's story. He saw what he saw, I think to myself. He has no reason to lie about it. My God, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine, he says, but if I'm being honest, it scared me pretty bad. And if it's all the same to you, I would like to get the hell out of here. We both stand up and start heading toward the road. It isn't until we start moving that I see Dennis is wounded. His right side is coated in blood. The red is seeping through his blue work shirt. There are splatters of it here and there, but also a very large red splotch that makes me worry. So shall we ask him, are you in a lot of pain? Or how'd you get that injury? Well, I know how men are. If I ask him this, he's going to be like, ruff, 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 ruff. So we're going to say, how'd you get that? I'm not sure, Dennis replies. I must have gotten thrown or hurt somehow from that light. It's then that I notice the strange ringing noise is filling the air. Hey, I say, do you hear that high-pitched ringing noise every once in a while? But Dennis looks scared when I ask him this question, and he just nods. I thought it was just me, he says. He looks very out of sorts and uncertain. I have never seen him look like this before. It's obvious that he's looking for some reassurance. Even though I'm his boss, there's something very unnerving about all of it. So do I tell him we're going to be okay, it's probably nothing, or that it's freaking me out? Well, I'm boss man. And I'm kind of the ringleader of this pony show, so we're okay. Let's be realistic, I tell myself. I might as well try to be empathetic. Out here in the middle of these woods, the ringing sound could be anything. Maybe even a car alarm from through the woods or something. Still, even my passive comment seems to have reassured Dennis. He looks a little calmer and a lot more relaxed. We both start moving forward and don't say another word. Did you try to call Frank? Dennis asks. I know he had his cell on him today. I can't, I say, cursing myself. I used up my battery trying to call you earlier. It's then that I notice something that makes me stop. There's a 10-foot wide hole in the ground. But there are no stray piles of removed dirt or rocks. It's just a clean, smoothly dug, cut into the earth. It's wide, but it's only a few feet deep. It looks unnatural, like the ground was just deleted, with no shovels or diggers at all. Dennis walks over to it. This looks like the same kind of hole that I saw the light come out of the ground from, he muses to himself. But I say nothing. My mind is spinning, and I don't know what to think. We gotta get out of here, Dennis mutters. At that moment, the ringing noise carries through the forest again and sends a shiver down my spine. Dennis is right. There is something strange going on, and we might not be safe here. But that ringing sound, it could be a clue to where the rest of the crew went. So do we say, no, let's check out the sound, or agreed, let's get away from here? Golly, we need to check out the sound. It's the only other thing in the woods right now, so other than the hole, you decide to check out the sound. Something's not right, I say, and if there's a mechanical noise like that... What, you think someone's out here? Dennis asks. Well, maybe. I think we should at least check it out. They might be able to help us. Yeah, you go right ahead, he says with a grin. I'll be right here, waiting for you. Better hurry, though. Dennis doesn't look like he's in the best shape to be trancing around through the forest, but we do need answers, and right away, too. Shall we leave Dennis or bring him with us? We're not being separated. That's horror story trope 101. He's coming. You decide to bring Dennis along. No, you're coming with me. I bend over and I hoist him up against my shoulder. He resists, just barely, and then gives in. He's looking at me like he's terrified of me now, and he's making a moan in his throat. We start moving through the woods quickly, with no idea where the rest of the crew is. I worry that they could be in danger. Every tree out here looks exactly the same. I grew up in the country, and I can find my way around the forest without much of a problem, but I'm feeling kind of dizzy. I'm leaning against a tree when I see something that has no business being out here. Our logging crew has been out here for 3 weeks, and I have never seen this before. Oh, it's a hobbit hole. It's a small building, sort of like a mix of a shack and a bunker. It looks like it's made of concrete, but moss, weeds, and plain old erosion also make it look sort of mystical. It also looks like something out of a demented version of a medieval fantasy movie. What the hell is this? Dennis asks. I have no idea, or some old power station. I have no idea. You purchased this land, right, boss? Dennis asks. Didn't you survey it? I certainly did, I said, getting a little defensive, but this was not here. Do you think the others maybe they went in there? Dennis asks nervously. Now, why would they do that? I ask. Well, I don't know, but they aren't out here, and if they aren't inside, they're probably dead, like Tony. He looks at the ground as he says this. I want to go inside. not just to find my crew, but also to appease my curiosity. That ringing noise is coming from inside. But something about this place seems incredibly strange, especially located all by itself out here. It simply doesn't belong. I wonder, do we just knock or go in? Dennis asks. I can tell he's trying to make a joke, but it falls flat. I'm starting to think that his humor is a defense mechanism for his fear. We both look ahead, take a moment to realize what we're about to do, and then start forward. We get no more than 3 feet closer when Dennis wobbles. Do I ask him if he's okay, or do I reach out and steady him automatically? I'll ask him if he's okay. Easy, I say. How are you feeling? I'm fine, he says. It's just that... And then he pitches forward and begins to fall to the ground. It happens in a way that feels like slow motion, and back in the darker parts of my mind, I wonder if he's dying. I'm okay, he says. Just, can you help me walk for a little while? Just help me inside, please. I can't deny him his request. I have never seen him this week, and it's a little uncomfortable to see. It makes me glad that I decided to keep him with me. I help Dennis into the weird little building. The front door opens more easily, even though there's clearly a lock on it. Maybe the lock was supposed to keep someone in. It's hard to tell. I still hear that ringing noise. It's definitely coming from in here. Stretching out in front of me is a small interior to match the outside. The building is totally empty. There's a concrete floor and a dingy, featureless walls. There are no windows, giving the place an even more isolated feel. Still, we hear that ringing noise. It's coming from somewhere in here, and it's louder now, more prominent. The interior seems confined at first, but a small set of concrete steps leads about 5 feet down, revealing a corridor. It's always bad to go down. It's a massive corridor, in fact, like I'm in some kind of building underground. It seems to go on forever. This corridor is mostly dark, with emergency lights every 10 feet or so. I assume we're now underground because this corridor extends far beyond the walls of the building that we entered. I realize that someone might not appreciate finding us here. Shall we tiptoe or walk quickly? I say walk quickly. I am eager to figure out what's going on. Our footsteps echo loudly in the dust and the dirt. Dennis leans on me for support. If there is anyone here, it's not like we're trying to be quiet and stealthy with the intention of sneaking up on them. If anyone is listening, they definitely know we're here now. As I half carry Dennis to the far end of this otherwise featureless place, I see a flight of concrete stairs leading down. I have to set Dennis down on the floor. His weight is killing me. Dennis, are you okay? Man, stop worrying, man, he says. I'll be okay. I just need a minute to rest. But looking at him, I am not so sure. I can still hear the ringing noise every so often, coming from somewhere in here. I look ahead at the concrete stairs. I point toward them so that Dennis sees them. Can you make it down those stairs? I ask. He stands up slowly and is visibly making an effort to not fall back down. Yeah, he says, and sounds a little irritated. He starts for the stairs without me, and I have no choice but to follow him. We approach the stairs, and by just looking at them, I get the sense that we're crossing some kind of a line here. There may very well be no going back. Down is always bad. Why are you going down? As I head down the stairs, I notice they look aged. That damn ringing noise is somewhere below, and it's louder than ever. I feel like I'm walking down into the cellar of a haunted house, the light becoming scarcer as the stairs take a slight turn. I can feel the temperature drop. Dennis makes it just a few steps down before he's leaning against the wall. He's breathing like he just finished a marathon. Should we pause or should we keep it up? We need to pause. He's our friend. Let's take a little break, I say, putting my hand out toward his shoulder to help steady him. Dennis lets out a sigh. Thanks. I don't feel too great, boss. As we both squat down on the stairs, my mind seems to lock in on the unknown fate of the rest of my crew. Frank is married, and I've met his wife a few times. She's a nice woman with a huge laugh. My heart sags a bit when I realize I might never again get to hear him belting out classic rock tunes during lunch break. And Joe, well, I don't know too much about him. He's 22 years old and is considering community college. His folks are deadbeats, so he's been providing for himself since he was 16 or so. Maybe I can still find them and still get to hear Frank singing in his deep baritone voice after one too many drinks. After a few minutes, Dennis says, "All right, let's keep going." And we both stand up, leaning on each other. I have to make Dennis stay behind me as I stick my foot out in search of the next stair. I can't help feeling like a child as a very powerful fear seizes over me. I'm expecting a monster to reach out of the darkness and slice into my throat. After what feels like forever, we come to the bottom of the stairs. We're closer to that ringing noise now. A door sits securely in the wall and looks just as out of place down here as I feel. A sliver of light seeps through, illuminating the area. The door has what looks like a panel with lots of labels and lights. Small embossed print above the panel says, "Level 1, entrance gate, transport sector." And there's a button with no label. I love buttons. Push it. I give the button a push. One of the readings on the panel flickers to life. Outage. That's all it says. Then it goes dark. The panel looks like a diagnostic or an alert system of some sort, each label meant to communicate some sort of status. Lockdown engaged. Experiment in progress. Shutdown engaged. Those all appear to be off. But one of the phrases has a slowly blinking red light next to it, the only powered light on this whole thing. Abnormal entity breach. What the hell? I slowly push the door open when Dennis suddenly steps in front of me, taking the lead. "Let's go," he says. "I want to find out what the hell this place is." As Dennis walks through, that ringing or beeping or whatever it is gets a little louder. The door closes behind us with a click. I can't help but notice the wobble in Dennis's step as he lets out a grunt. "Are you sure you're healthy enough to keep going?" I ask him. "Doesn't matter. I want to be in the woods. I don't want to be in the woods right now." He seems scared, something I've never seen in him before. Angry, yes. Upset, yes. But Dennis is never scared. "What did you see, or what is so dangerous? What did you see?" "I don't know what it was, boss, but it was like someone had left a radio on, crackling. We don't have any radios at the site, though. It was, I don't know, it was like something in the forest was moving." I give him a doubtful look and he casts his eyes down to the ground, frustrated. "I know how it sounds," he says, "but I also know what I felt. It was like walking into a funeral parlor, feeling death and gloom everywhere." I'd been so preoccupied with my own fear that I nearly forgot about the ringing noise. It had just become background. We take a few more steps, and I can now see where we are. But it makes no sense. It's just another thing that simply seems out of place. The shapes and the muted colors of metal are easy to identify, but it doesn't belong here. End of chapter 1. So we'll have to pick this up next time, guys. This is getting juicy. What the heck are they looking at? I hope you're enjoying this story as much as I am. I've got like little goosebumps. It's pretty creepy. And I'll see you next time. Bye.